Hi, it's Dr. Karen Can. Welcome to another edition of the Spiritual Medicine Digest. Every week I give you spiritual tips and kind of what's going on in the world spiritually and energetically so you can navigate the ascension process with greater ease and grace. So, for the last few days, we are in the fourth phase of what I call the Ascension Cycle. There are 4 phases to the Ascension Cycle. In the previous 3 videos, we talked about the first 3 phases, including the rising, expanding, the resistance, and now we're into what's called the integration phase, and that started on Saturday. So what that means is that in this phase, what's happening is positive energies are being downloaded to us. It's like a natural ascension phenomenon. We're exposed to these higher and higher vibrations, positive energies, healing energies are being given and received for each of us. And sometimes these energies can come so quickly that it doesn't totally get integrated into our systems, whether it be physically or energetically or emotionally, mentally, etc. So it is possible for some people to feel a little out of sorts during this phase, not necessarily, but occasionally you might have, if you're a highly sensitive person, you might have very weird or odd symptoms. And it could be a variety of things. It could be a sudden stiffness in one part of your body, or, one half of you has like swelling, or there are so many possibilities. I don't want to put that in your head about what it could be, but just so you know that we have entered this phase of ascension integration. This is a very exciting phase because all of this positive energy gets to be downloaded to us, and in other words, we get more healing than ever before. And with every ascension cycle, it just gets higher and higher and higher and higher. So if you happen to be someone who can do divine muscle testing, like we teach in the TOLPAKAN Healing Method Level 1 training, then you can actually do a little checkup on yourself. And the question you would ask when you're connected with Source is, and this is the $1 million question, is how many parts of me are not fully integrating the ascension energies with ease and grace, okay, or something to that extent. Or you could say, how many parts of me aren't fully integrating ascension energies, at 100%, right? Because we want it at 100%. So then you would get a number and you would count. Is it more than 10, less than 10? And muscle testing, so you get a strong response in your divine muscle testing. So you might get that it's 7 parts of you. Okay, well then you might want to ask, do I need to know which parts they are? And if you do, then you may need to go down that rabbit hole and check what parts of you are not fully integrating the ascension. Because some highly sensitive people who have a higher responsibility in the world on a spiritual level may need to know more details about it, because they need to sometimes put 2 and 2 together. For example, say someone has like, a stiff ankle, right? And then they find out that the part of them that's not fully integrating the ascension may be their ankle joint. And they're like, oh, okay, well, that makes sense with my symptoms then. And then when they do the integration procedure, the TOLPAKAN Healing Directive for that, and, their ankle symptoms go away, then they'll be able to go, aha, that worked, So some people need to have that experience, and that's why they need to figure it out. But a lot of people don't need to figure it out. Sometimes if you just know, like, okay, there's some things that need to integrate, then just you do the TOLPAKAN Healing Directive, and then it integrates. So there is more complex ways of figuring out how to know which parts of you aren't integrating, and it's something that's probably too long for me to teach you on this short video. But we actually divide it up into physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, energetic, dimensional, and then how many parts of each of those aren't really integrating the latest ascension energies. And so I kind of go from head to toe when it comes to the physical, and then the other systems, mental, emotional, etc. Usually it's not as complex as the physical. But anyway, that's like a brief overview of how we would do it. So once you figure it out, that there's certain parts of you that are not fully integrating all the ascension energies, and you don't need to know more, then you can do what we call is a TOLPAKAN Healing Directive. So the directive basically points the healing energies based on what you direct them to do. So in this case, the TOLPAKAN Healing Directive would sound something like this. I now command that all parts of me, physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, angelic, dimensional, be able to completely, 100%, fully integrate all ascension energies with ease and grace now. Thank you. And here's the thing, if this latest ascension phase of the ascension cycle is lasting 7 days, okay, and if there are upgrades of these positive energies multiple times a day, it's possible that there are parts of you that aren't going to be able to catch up that quickly. So if you're highly sensitive, you may wish to do this directive multiple times a day just for the rest of this particular phase. You can even ask, what day is the ascension integration over? Now, of course, if you happen to have one of my Ascension healing tools or products, Ascension 2, which is on MP3 and MP4, or you happen to have, my Ascension 3 necklace, which is not commercially available yet, but if you are one of the ones that have the prototypes, the first ones, the pre-orders, then you can literally just hold it and say, integrate all the Ascension energies in all parts of me. Thank you. Okay. And then it'll be done. So it's much faster, of course, that way. All right. So that's it. And probably by the time next week we do this video, we'll be well into the rising phase again of the Ascension Cycle. So what else do I want to share with you today? Well, I had a very interesting conversation with Source last night because as I'm doing muscle testing, I'm realizing that my muscle testing was kind of going off and on and off and on. And when that happens, I do what we call pre-checks. So when we teach divine muscle testing, we do these pre-checks. So I was checking a yes and a no, and that was correct. Okay, yes was strong, no was weak on divine muscle testing. However, back up. So when I was testing a yes and a no last night, I was thinking 2 days ago, when I was testing a yes and a no last night, sometimes the yes was strong, sometimes the no was strong. So it was not very consistent. So it seemed to be, I was flipping from being reverse polarity to regular polarity to reverse polarity to regular polarity. Now, throughout the day, because I've been in Las Vegas for the last few days for the LifeWave convention, I didn't really do a heck of a lot of muscle testing, except at night on myself. So I didn't really realize if and when I was reversed. And if I was reversed, it would have been very, very brief because I wasn't feeling anything necessarily bad, during the time I was there. So I asked Source, what is that about? So that was a healing reaction for me. Now, for some people that go polarity reverse, it could be a stress reaction. So either a profound healing reaction or a stress reaction. In this case, it was a healing reaction, a collective healing, experience. And so what I was prompted to do was to look into what wants to heal right now. So using the TOLPAKAN healing technique and questioning quality questions of Source, I figured out that there is an evolution of the air element that wanted to happen. So what we did last night was we did an evolutionary, it's not really a healing because it wasn't anything wrong per se for the, nothing bad, but it was more like an evolution healing of the air element in our particular reality. And I thought, well, that's kind of weird. Why would we need that? Now, the other video I did last week, we talked about becoming breatharian, or steps to becoming breatharian, meaning that you don't have to eat as much to gain energy, and you can just create energy in your body through breath, intention and breath and all that kind of stuff that you need. Several different ingredients to be able to become more breatharian. So you don't have to eat as much, get as much, and you can generate your own energy. So this shift or evolution of the air element actually helps us or supports us in becoming more breatharian if you so choose to be one. Now, I really love eating. So for now, I'm not giving up eating, but I did notice that for wellness and health and strength and all that kind of stuff, that relatively speaking, I was overeating based on my newly forming breatharian template. Did you get all that? So I don't require as many calories now. I love bone broth, so I'm a big fan of bone broth. And somebody today was, I said something about, how bad my skin was in the 40s. I was talking about the patches, the LifeWave patches, how they help my skin. And she looks at me, and I never met her before. She looks at me, she goes, "You're above 40? You're above 40? And I'm like, yeah. When I was in my 40s, I had all this, acne and all these bumps on my arms and legs. And I was telling her about how the glutathione patch really helped me. She goes, "I can't believe you're over 40. And I said, "Yeah, I'm 52. And she just looked at me. She's like, "You don't have any wrinkles. That is amazing." So I'm like, patches and bone broth. Yep, patches and bone broth. That's my formula. And of course, I'm a big fan of the patches. So, so anyway, that was a little diversion. So this new air element evolution is supposed to help us. So I just wanted to share that little tidbit with you. Maybe in your readings or your travels on the internet, maybe you found something else similar. I've never heard of that before. This is what I was told. And then, after that, I, didn't really need to go reversed anymore. So it seems to have stabilized that muscle testing. So in case you've had some difficulty muscle testing over the last, day or two, it could be related to the same healing experience or collective healing experience. Okay, so a couple of announcements. So Monday on Light Warrior Radio at 12 noon Eastern, I'm going to be interviewing Dr. Dennis Lobstein, who's my colleague. Every first Monday of the month, we do the LifeWave Ask the Doctors. So this is a phototherapy patch that we both absolutely love, and I'm a distributor of, and we take calls, live calls from people about the patches. Sometimes they want to know how to patch for a certain symptom. We help them with that. Our topic for this month, or for next month, actually February, is going to be part 2 of oral health. So last month we did a very detailed study about how you can support your body in regenerating teeth and enamel and all that kind of stuff. And if you want to check that out, you can go to patchtrainingteam.com. And if you're on YouTube, you can see that link below and just check out that blog article with the replay of the show as well as the notes. And then on Monday, we're going to be doing part 2 where we're going to be talking more about the gums and the soft tissue of oral health that way. But even if you have a question outside of oral health, you can definitely call in and ask us a question live. This is a great way to get some personalized help from either myself or Dr. Dennis. So the link to the show is below. And you can just connect with us at 12 noon Eastern for the live show. And also you can call in to ask your question as well. And hopefully the chat will work this week. Last time it didn't work. So the second announcement I want to share is that next week, in a few days really, my colleague Isa Herrera, who's an amazing specialist in pelvic floor health, is going to be doing a live masterclass. And so if you know anyone who has issues with urinary leakage, incontinence, pelvic pain, vaginal pain, sexual pain, things falling down there, definitely refer them to this masterclass because it is incredible. I took her masterclass before. I'm actually a graduate of her program. I loved it so much. I didn't even go in as a medical doctor in her program. She says, "Do you want to do the professional track?" I'm like, "No, I'm going to do the consumer track, right? I want to see what it's like to be, a client and how you teach and things like that." And it was amazing. So she's one of the people that I support because her work is really good. Her teaching is really good. And so if you really want to be empowered related to your pelvis and your female parts, or if you're male, your male parts, check out this masterclass. It's definitely worth watching. So I'm going to put the link below this video. If you're on YouTube, check out the video below, or the link below to register for the class. I believe it's just a single masterclass. So definitely want to register for that. I think if you register, even if you can't make it, you can get a copy of the replay. She also has a free report as well that we can definitely gift you as part of that. So those are the 2 announcements for today, and I look forward to speaking with you again next week on the next Spiritual Medicine Digest. Have a great rest of the week. Bye for now.